Ruskin Bond's The Overcoat begins with a moonlit walk to a Christmas party and ends, only hours later, in a silent burial ground. On this particular night, the narrator is reluctant to leave his room. He's settled in with a book and a hot water bottle, choosing the comfort of his bed over the social obligations waiting at the Kapadia's house. Outside, the Himalayan hill station is frozen. Patches of snow still cling to the roads, and the air carries a sharp, clear frost that bites at anyone moving through the mountain passes. To reach the party, he has to leave his private circle of warmth and step into an environment defined by its biting physical isolation. Halfway there, he encounters a girl named Julie standing alone in the middle of the dark road. She looks as if she stepped out of an old family album. She's wearing a flowy, sequin dress in shades of pink and lavender, a style that feels decades out of place in the middle of a freezing night. At the Kapadias, the house is filled with music and light, and Julie dances for hours, seemingly lost in the rhythm. Yet, despite the crowd, no one seems to know who she is or how she arrived. When they leave at midnight, the temperature has dropped further. The narrator notices how thin her dress is against the mountain wind, so he slips his own heavy overcoat over her shoulders. Julie doesn't take the main road back. She points to a narrow, steep shortcut up the hillside toward a house called Wolfsburn, promising she'll return the coat the following day. As she disappears into the dark, she takes that heavy wool coat with her, the only source of heat in a landscape that has become increasingly cold and mysterious. The next morning, the narrator follows her path, crossing a small brook to find the residence she described. But Wolfsburn isn't a home. It's a roofless ruin with a shattered chimney and decaying pillars. There are no lights and no signs of life, just a pile of stones overgrown by the mountain. The vibrant music and laughter from the night before feel impossible standing here, amidst the absolute silence of the debris. The story shifts here. The social charm of the party is replaced by the reality of the ruins, suggesting that the girl he met belongs to the history of this site rather than its present. Searching for an explanation, the narrator visits a neighbor, Mrs. Taylor, at the local mission house. She tells him that no one has lived at Wolfsburn for over 40 years. The last family to stay there, the McKinnons, left the hill station shortly after their young daughter, Julie, died. Julie had died of consumption, a disease that slowly wasted the body away. In those days, there was little that could be done to stop it. The dress that looked like a photograph and the fact that no one at the party recognized her begin to make sense. She was a guest from a completely different era. The charming encounter on the road is now revealed to be something much more unsettling. Driven by a need to see for himself, the narrator walks down to the small cemetery sheltered by deodar trees. The cemetery sits under the gaze of the eternal Himalayan snows, a quiet place where the graves of soldiers and settlers are slowly being worn away by the monsoons. It doesn't take him long to find what he's looking for, a simple headstone with the name Julie McKinnon clearly visible. Behind that headstone, resting on the grass, is his overcoat. It is neatly folded, as if it had been placed there with care just moments before. Seeing his own coat resting in a frozen graveyard confirms that his world and Julie's have briefly, physically intersected. As he turns to leave, he feels a soft, invisible brush against his cheek, a final, silent gesture of thanks. Ruskin Bond often writes about these quiet intersections. In this story, the overcoat is returned as a small bridge between the living and those who have long since passed. It leaves us to wonder about the weight of our own small gestures, how a simple offer of warmth can reach someone, even across a gap of 40 years. While the mountains remain cold and indifferent, the memory of a single act of kindness remains.